Hi, hey, this is Dave, as in Dave and Diane throwing caution to the wind, and this is episode 2 of our Comparing Full-Time Living in a Class A to a Fifth Wheel series. So come on in, we'll chat about it a little bit more. Come on in, come on in. Diane, make yourself decent. We have company coming. Oh, you guys beat me in here. Make yourself comfortable. In our first video, we mainly talked about Diane's and my experience as far as RV goes and why we decided to do this video comparing full-timing in a Class A to a fifth wheel. We'll try to provide a link to that video in case you care to have a look at it, more than likely down in the description below, unless I all of a sudden become very techy and can figure out how to do a little clicky link up here in the video somewhere for you to punch on. First things first, I love driving the Class A. I love the feel of it going down the road. I love the stability of it going down the road. I love sitting up high. I love looking out over traffic. I love looking out the big windshield. I love seeing the scenery through the windshield. There's not a lot I don't like about driving the Class A. Another thing we like about a Class A on travel days is the accessibility we have to everything inside. If Diane needs to get up and use the restroom while we're traveling, she can do that. We use a little common sense. If we want to pull over to the side of the road and have some lunch, we can do that without putting out any slides. We have full access to every cupboard and the refrigerator and our kitchen table. If we want to stop at the end of a long day of travel, which we typically don't do, but if we wanted to, if we want to stop, watch a little TV, and then go catch some Z's, we can do that without ever putting a slide out if we wanted to. And if it's raining outside, we can do all that without ever getting out of the coach. So that's a huge plus for traveling in the Class A. Another thing that Diane likes about traveling in the Class A is she can turn this chair around, of course, while we're driving, put her feet up, kick back a tad, and she travels in style. Something else we really enjoy about a Class A is storage. Outside storage is what I'm referring to. We have a number of access doors that get us to compartments that we can stow things laid out flat. We don't have to stack things on top of each other like you do in a fifth wheel. And we even have a pull-out tray in one of the cargo bays to make it even easier to get to some of those things. So that is a big plus for us. While we're talking about the outside, we'll touch base on pulling a toad with us. We used to pull a Jeep Rubicon behind us, and now we pull a Ford F-150 pickup, and we stow our bikes on the back of the motorhome while we're traveling. Putting the bikes on the back of the motorhome instead of on the back of the toad does cause a little bit extra work for me because I have to bow down underneath the bikes to stow and take out the tow bar. But it's not really a big deal, and luckily I'm pretty nimble still, so it's not an issue. The advantage for us in a motorhome and that toad is I love being able to unhook the toad when we get to a campground. That way, once we check in, I can drive the motorhome separately to our site and back in. And once I'm in our site, we're out of the way. Diane can park the truck and we can start setting up. In a fifth wheel, we're going to have to back in, and a lot of times the truck is going to stick out into the roadway, sometimes far enough it's going to block traffic. Now, I see it happen a lot. People don't get too anxious about it. RVers are pretty patient people for the most part. But I'll be honest, it's something on my mind, and I have a little bit of anxiety thinking about that in the future, but I know I'll get past it pretty quickly. I could go on and on about the outside stuff, but to keep it a little bit shorter, let's move on to the inside and yak about that for a while. Hey, while we're right up front, let's just talk about the cockpit area. That's been a big topic between motorhome owners and fifth wheel owners for a long time. Fifth wheel owners like to think that the cockpit area is a big deficit when it comes to motorhomes. because the steering wheel is always obvious and the dash is always obvious, and you know, that kind of thing. But to be honest with you, that's only a negative if you let it become a negative. We'd rather make things a positive. So to us, we took the steering wheel, we bought a little device at Camping World, we put it on top of our steering wheel, turned it into a table. Great place to put a lamp or throw your keys or sunglasses or what have you. And takes that steering wheel issue out of the picture. The dash, we use that to put our sign in the window. We put plants up there. We put our little welcome sign. And that front windshield is a great picture window in a lot of parks. And you know, the seats, our seats turn around, and we use them as part of our living room. And it's really handy for us. We come in from the outside. If our shoes are wet or even dirty, we take them off all the time. We have a place to sit down, take them off before we ever enter into the coach. And then we store our shoes under the steering wheel behind this captain's seat. So it's really a great thing for us. Another thing we like about the Class A and having the cockpit and our seats turned around is that if someone comes by to visit for a short period, they can come in, have a seat, visit for a spell, and never have to worry about taking their shoes off. I suppose while we're talking about the windshield, we should also bring up the negatives about the windshield. If we're facing into the sun and we're camped at a campground, a lot of heat can come in through that windshield, which helps make it get pretty warm in the RV. Now, we bought an item called a Magna Shade that it goes outside the windshield. So it stops the sun before it hits the glass to create heat. And it's a one-person operation to put it up and take it down. We installed magnets inside the coach. These are earth magnets. And the shade outside attaches to the windshield just with magnets. So one person can put it up, one person takes it down, and it makes a world of difference when we're facing the sun. We don't put it up in a lot of places we're not facing the sun, but even with it up, we have a nice view outside. It doesn't obstruct our view that much, and it gives you a little privacy. During the day, people can't see in through that shade. We can still see out. At nighttime, when we have all the lights on and it's dark outside, people can see silhouettes, but they're not going to make much out looking in. All right, well, hey, that's probably enough about the cockpit area. And hopefully we've done a pretty good job of doing away with some of the stigma about having a cockpit in a Class A and full-timing. Moving back a little bit into the living room area, we really like the L-shaped couch configuration we have in our current coach. It gives us the feel of some real separation between the living room and our kitchen area. We like having the fireplace where it is. We like having the TV above the fireplace. In our last Class A, we had a TV above the windshield, and we found that to be awkward in viewing TV in the evening time, more of a neck strain thing. Having the TV where it is now really is a comfortable viewing position. And we mentioned before, having the seats turned around, the cockpit seats turned around, adds some pretty good seating. We can sit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in our living room very comfortably without having to bring in extra chairs. 7 if you wanted to push it a little bit, but 6 very comfortable. Before we move on, let me touch base on that fireplace a little bit more. We didn't think we would ever want to have a fireplace in an RV. We thought the storage would be far more important. But now that we have that fireplace, I don't think we'd ever want to be without it. That has turned out to be 90% of our heat source when we need heat. Between that and the heated floors, I'll touch more on the heated floors later. But in the mornings when I wake up, if it's chilly outside, I click the remote control next to the bed, turn on the fireplace. Within 10-15 minutes, the outside here is nice and toasty. And we're sitting around evening time. If we need heat, we use that fireplace. Very seldom do we turn on the aqua hot heater to get things warm inside the coach. So think about a fireplace if you're looking at an RV. Okay, let's move on back to the kitchen and dining room area. Here we are in the dining room section of our motorhome, and where I start every single day. The reason I start every single day here is because this is where our computer is located, and the computer is my morning newspaper and where I work on our blog, which is usually in the morning time. As well as being a spot for a computer, this tabletop here and these cabinets are deep enough that we can also have a file cabinet down below. The other thing we like about this setup is the way the table just pulls out, giving us more room to eat. And we don't have to deal with a leaf, and we really like that. All right, let's go over our kitchen. First off, we have pretty adequate counter space. When we do want extra counter space, this pulls out and gives us a nice extra work area. I use that a lot for when I'm using the Instant Pot, and I love the Instant Pot, by the way. All of our cupboards have full extension drawer slides. Plenty of space for everything. This particular setup does not have an oven, but we use a Breville toaster oven, and we actually like that a lot. We do have a convection microwave, but neither of us care for the convection part of this, so we rely on the Breville most of the time. We do have a 2-burner induction cooktop. Probably not the best brand on the market, but we've learned to deal with its idiosyncrasies and never switched it out. We do have a double bowl stainless steel sink. To be honest with you, Diane prefers a single bowl sink, so we very seldom ever have this uncovered. And in fact, in the 5th wheel we have being built, we're putting in a single bowl kitchen sink. We also have a dishwasher, something that we didn't think we would want in an RV, but now that we've had it for a while, we love it and wouldn't be without one. Below that, more storage for pots and pans, more full extension drawers, lots of cupboard space, more cupboard space up here with pull-outs. So we don't lack for storage in the RV. Even with the cupboards across the way there, we have plenty of room for all of our canned goods and cereals and whatnot. Which is something to think about when you're looking for RVs. So many RVs have such small compartments in the cabinets, you can't even stand up a box of cereal. So pay attention to that when you're looking. You probably noticed our refrigerator when I was sitting at the dinette, and that is a full-size residential refrigerator, no propane. So for the record, we have no complaints about the kitchen and dining room area of our Class A. This has been very comfortable for us and very functional. But knowing what we have going in our 5th wheel that's being built, I think we'll be pretty happy with that. We will have a pantry in the 5th wheel. We're going to have an island in the 5th wheel. We're going to have induction cooktop. We're going to have residential refrigerator. We're going to have a dishwasher. But I think the winning point of the 5th wheel is going to be the island space and the extra countertop space that will provide. But we'll go over that when that time comes. Okay, if we go back just a little bit further, that takes us to the half bath. We don't use the half bath all that much, mainly because we love the separation we have when we're using the rear bathroom. About the only time we use the half bath is on travel days, and we stop to use the restroom because in order to get to the rear bathroom, you have to climb over the bed when the slides are in. We also use the half bath when we're out boondocking, mainly because this is a typical RV toilet and it uses less water than the macerator toilet we have in the rear. But it still gives you some extra storage space. Okay, let's go on back and talk about the bedroom and the full bath. Well, it turns out that we're only 3 weeks away from giving up possession of the coach, and we've started packing up some of our possessions. So the bedroom's a mess and full of boxes, so if I went back there and showed you pictures in the state it's in right now, Diane would probably kick my butt. So I'll just sit here, relax, and talk to you about it and show you some pictures instead. Alright, so we have a king-size bed that we love a lot. But being a king-size bed does make it a bit challenging to make. But I think that probably holds true with most RVs out there. We do have a Tempur-Pedic mattress, and we're going to take that mattress with us to the fifth wheel. So we have plenty of storage in the bedroom. We have a little bit of storage underneath the bed. We have some nice storage above the bed. And we have plenty of drawer space on the other side of the bedroom below the TV. So I guess there's really nothing special about the bedroom compared to any other RV out in the market. But it suits our purpose pretty well. One of the features we do have in the bedroom that we like a lot is a ceiling fan. We won't have that in the fifth wheel, and that's a feature we will miss, but we'll figure it out with a nice portable fan of some sort. One thing we don't like about the bedroom is that Tiffin decided to put the electronics behind a couple louvered doors, thinking the louvered doors would supply plenty of ventilation, but then they put the electronics behind a solid panel. So we burnt up 2 HDMI splitters before we finally got smart, and I installed a fan. I cut out a hole and installed a fan, and that seems to take care of the problem. But when you're looking at your RVs, pay attention where they have their electronics and make sure they're in a well-ventilated area, because electronics and heat just don't go together. All right, now let's talk about the rear bathroom. We really like having the rear bathroom. It gives us great separation from the bathroom and the living area for privacy. It's large enough that we don't feel claustrophobic and feel like we have to run out of there when we're done doing whatever we're doing. We have a stacker washer dryer back there, which we love. We had a washer dryer combination in our first coach, and we didn't mind that. It did a fine job for us, but we do like the stacking unit a lot better. We have plenty of storage back there. We have a nice-sized shower with a skylight. We have a macerator toilet, which does a fine job. And let's see, what else? Oh, in the closet, Tiffin put the breaker system in one half of the closet down below. Of course, I get that half because I have mainly shirts, and I usually wear shorts. So my shorts go in a drawer, and my shirts are short enough they work really good on that half of the closet. And Diane gets the other half where long items can hang. But we don't really care about that, care too much about having the breaker system in the closet. It does take away from a lot of storage. But overall, we love the rear bathroom and highly recommend that setup. So we pretty much summed up everything we like and maybe dislike about a Class A. One of the topics that I didn't bring up was that we are in an all-electric coach. And it's always a big debate out there whether you can go out boondocking in an all-electric coach. Now granted, we added a bunch of solar up on top. I think we talked about that. We upgraded our battery bank, and we do have a nice-sized generator. But let me tell you, you can boondock in an all-electric coach. We've gone out for days on end. I think our record is 17 days at one time boondocking with an all-electric coach. And I probably run the generator an hour, hour and a half every day, if it's nice and sunny outside so the solar panels can do their job. But don't let the naysayers tell you that you can't go boondocking with an all-electric coach. You can do it. Another big topic that goes on between Class A owners and fifth wheel owners is which is better if you have issues. Let's use an example of breaking down the road. As a Class A owner, I say if my Class A breaks down, I may have to have it towed, but I still have my pickup as a towed that we can get to where we need to go to the hotel or whatever may happen, or get us to the repair center. I guess if our towed breaks down, we really could put it behind the motorhome and tow it to a repair center if we wanted to. Now, it probably wouldn't be very convenient with a 42-foot motorhome pulling our towed into a Ford dealer to get it fixed. But you know what? We could do it. If you're in a fifth wheel and your pickup breaks down going down the road, now you have to stop. You have to get your pickup towed, Then you have to have your RV towed to a campground for you. So that's not very convenient either. So really, breaking down is not convenient in anything you own, but you can argue which is easier to deal with, and you can be your own judge on that. There's no perfect world, like I said before. And then there's always a topic of fuel economy. You have Class A owners talking about how fifth wheel owners have a big truck pulling the fifth wheel. Then they get to a destination, they have to drive the big truck around as a daily driver, and the poor fuel economy you get. Plus having to park it when you're out sightseeing or going to the store. Some fifth wheel owners will say that they don't mind the fuel economy in the truck. They get used to driving the large truck around. They don't look for the closest parking spots. They park out away. And back when we had our fifth wheel, many years ago, that's what we did. We just parked out the North 40. Heck, I still park out the North 40. We drive an F-150. I just don't like to fight for those close parking spots. I'd rather be out parked away where less chance of getting door dings and what have you. And then you have the fifth wheel owners talking about the Class A owners, to where you know, we get, like for us, we get 8 miles per gallon roughly in our motorhome. But then we can get a Toad that gets good fuel economy. Now we pulled a Jeep around with us. We got 15 miles per gallon in the Jeep, so obviously we don't care about fuel economy. And even our F-150 we pull with us now, we get 18 miles per gallon on a good day. So we don't let fuel economy get in our way too much. And you shouldn't either. There's ways to get around it. You have to just figure out what's best for you. Alright, that's it for this video. So hopefully we gave you some good info about living full-time in a motorhome. And once we get into our fifth wheel, and we're only about 3-4 weeks away from that now, hopefully, if it doesn't get behind schedule, we can start giving you some input on the transition into a fifth wheel, and then later on we'll talk about what we like about the fifth wheel. So hopefully this didn't drag on too long, and hopefully you'll come back and watch our next video.